Good morning. This is the Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe has stepped away. He's got some business he's taking care of. He will either join us later in the show. You can find this show, the Patriot Radio News Hour, on YouTube, but it's not live streamed. We have an event coming up on Friday, the KXXT Appreciation Night. So anybody who wants to RSVP tickets, you can go to 1360khnc.com, and you can get your tickets there. Anybody that buys the $10 ticket to go to this, you will not be sad. It's money well spent. It helps. I'm pretty much going to be out of pocket on this thing. The $10 tickets help with a little bit of that cost, but it also keeps a limitation just in case too many people show up to the building, which can only hold so many people. So should be fun. And that'll be Friday night at 6:30 p.m. So you'll go to 10 South Parish Avenue. That's just a couple doors north of the corner building that we're sitting in, the 1360 KXXT radio station. Elba Studios, where you listen to my end of the Patriot Radio News Hour. But tell us what you like and don't like, and looking forward to it at the radio station. And the radio station that's housed the Patriot Radio News Hour for, well over 2 decades. That you could go and listen to this show, hear about economics, hear some ideas of what might be getting ready to go down, and make decisions upon buying things, especially like gold and silver. Gold and silver, the thing that brought me to the radio station. This is the thing that got me on the radio to begin with. Is I just wanted to sell gold and silver. I just really liked it. I liked the buying and selling of gold and silver coins and being involved in this business. And when Joe went on the air, Groundhog's Day 2018, 2218, I called him. That I had one quick conversation with a couple friends that were buying gold and silver from me because I was doing it already on the side. And talked to my wife briefly, and let's sell our house, give Joe some money, and we'll go run a gold company out of the radio station, and it's supposed to be a part-time thing, mix it in with the regular job. And once I got here, part of the job ended up being, well, you got to do radio. I was like, okay, I got to do radio. Then the other part's like, well, the radio station needs help. Maybe help them out because that'll help us out. Well, the radio station needed a lot of help. In fact, the owner at the time, I was looking how disastrous it was, how on the edge of disaster it was, and I was talking to her, and she said, "Well, if it dies, it dies. It'll be God's will, or it's just what has to happen." I'm like, "Oh, I just sold my house, and then to get into this thing full time, because this is a full time gig, I gave Joe the rest of the equity that I had on the house that I sold, and then I got a loan, and I gave him that money." That was how convinced I was that I wanted to sell gold and silver to the Patriot Trading Group audience, the Patriot Radio News Hour audience, and be involved in this. And 8.5 years later, here we are in August of 2026. So it's been quite the ride. And the people that have been buying gold and silver just in the 8.5 years that I've been on the air have done really well with it. We were selling $20 gold pieces for $1,250 when I got on the air. That's what it was at. And in 2018, when I first got on the air, and through the months of 2019, especially when the reverse repo market, or the repo market started showing some stress in September of 2019, I was telling people, hey, look, the next 9/11 is coming. The next fraudulent false flag event, real event, but then the blame for the event, what actually happened, is always pointed in a different direction, right? It's somebody else's fault. It's some other thing, and the fingers are pointed, and the financial chaos happens, and those that created the financial chaos never get blamed. It's one of the main reasons I got into gold and silver is I needed to find a way to isolate and insulate myself in those times, which we have another one coming. I don't know if it's coming this year, next year, 2028, but within the next, I'd say 18 to 24 months, we're going to see another one of these things pop up. And we're going to be laughing at gold prices. I mean, when I get on the next segment, we got some of yesterday's special left. I'll try to get into that. And I highly suggest you call that number, 800-951-0592. Hang on, we'll be right back in just a second. Actually, more like 2 minutes. 800-951-0592. Silver down a little bit today. It's holding above $65, and that's it's made a move, guys. It's made a move. It was like in that $60, $61 down to about $57, $58, $59 range. Gold was like in that 4,000 spot, 4,100. Well, silver is at 65.04. Even on a down day, it's holding this new leg up. Gold is just up a couple bucks, so it's flat. It's at $4,395. Let's check the paper market. Markets are flat too. They're all down a little bit. Got the Dow just below 54,000, 7750 on the S&P, and 26,500 on the Nasdaq. All down just quarter of a point. Yesterday we had a really good gold special. Joe brought it in the air. We have some of that left with the gold and silver prices holding. We're gonna stick to what we have left. I don't know how many we have left. I don't have an exact number. We have $10 liberties for $2,150. So we're sticking to that. Limited. This is very limited. Joe was able to get that out to me before we got in the air. So make sure that you ring the phones quick. We're getting customers that are calling again. So some of these specials aren't going to be as easy just call up and at your leisure and just buy it whenever it's available. These things are starting to sell out again. So $10 liberties, $2,150. And we have $5 liberties. We have some of those left. We have 20 still left, so I have a number on that. We have $25 liberties. That's the quarter ounce coin. That's $1,075. So once again, we have $10 libs, $2,150. And we have $20 libs at $1,075. Just give us a call over here at the Arizona office, 800-951-0592. So I woke up this morning, I got the message that Joe was going to be super busy. And it's like, well, okay, so what's there to talk about? There's always something going on. Looking at the markets, we briefly touched yesterday about a huge mortgage company is suddenly taking on a whole lot of water. You got mostly what I've been looking at recently is when you see things around you locally. Now, Colorado, it may not be a good indication of the rest of the country, but I've noticed when things get a little rough and rocky financially, things are rough and rocky around here. And a lot of times things get rough and rocky before the TV will tell you it is. The TV doesn't want to tell you things are getting rough and rocky. And I was at a new department store. My wife wanted to check out the new Target, which has opened up there in the Firestone area. The Del Camino, exit 240. And I try to stay out of shopping as much as I can, but when you need some cheap crap, then you can go there and get your cheap crap. And these Target, I remember growing up, Target never had groceries, but anytime there's another source of food to be bought, and so since this one's close, we chose yesterday to go when I got out of the radio station. We went and took a look around, and if you have your eyes open, you're looking around, you'll see some indications that things aren't going so well. I saw a video on ramen. You get the little styrofoam cup. You're supposed to fill it with hot water, and you eat the noodles. I saw this video, and I'm a health conscious type of guy. And it seems like America, when it's all connected to economics, we basically eat poison or some version of poison. And if you're trying really hard, you get a little bit of nutrition somewhere. You got to get as much nutrition as you can. And I saw this thing on ramen noodles. It was, I mean, everyone knows it's probably not the healthiest food, but what is it? It's cheap. And that cheap ramen noodles, inflation, and sometimes you can call it shrinkflation, to keep those prices down. They'll do anything. And I saw that there's this chemical, and I won't be able to quote. It's been about, I'm going off the memory of a video I saw about 6 months ago. But they're injecting a chemical into the ramen noodles to give it weight, and essentially it turns your ramen noodles into it can be considered a form of plastic. No, it's not plastic. You're not going to make a toy out of it, or or a plastic spoon or fork out of it. But it's essentially, it's full-on chemical injected in. It's cheaper than a ramen noodle, because anytime you inject something into the product, there's only two things. One, you want the shelf life to last longer, and number two, it's by weight, whatever you add is cheaper than the food. Kind of like when the meat producers, they have these needles and on these machines, and they inject a bunch of water and salt into the meat to make it heavier, and then you get it home and you open the package, half the water falls out, and then you put it on the grill to cook it or whatever, and all the water comes out of it. If you throw some meat in the microwave and you open it, you got a sauna coming out of your microwave because all the water that's coming out. And the ramen noodles are plastic, and it's like, I won't be eating those anymore. But I was at this new Target store with my wife, and there's other people shopping. I try most of the time. I'm like the average person. I kind of stayed in my own business, but this one caught my eye because some woman was in that aisle grabbing something, and no big deal. But she came back and she placed what looked like, I guess you go by, like a little small case of ramen noodles. I think it was like a 6-pack or an 8-pack, something like that. And the price was, I don't know, pretty cheap. $2, $2.50, something like that. $2.80. What caught my eye was not that she had pulled off the shelf and walked away. She came back and put the case back on the shelf. She grabbed like 3 or 4 single ramen noodles that were on the shelf above. Because, and I did that as soon as she walked off with those. I looked at the prices and I did the math. For whatever reason, at that moment in time in Target right now, the single ramens that were above the case ramens were cheaper. And she got back to the cart. She must have did the math or something. And she went back and put the case. And not only did she buy fewer, 3 or 4 instead of an 8-pack, the per unit was cheaper. And I'm thinking that is, I mean, I don't know. I know people that are ramen noodle fans, I guess, just because you get used to eating it because it's a lot of salt. Anything that's salty, sugary, or fatty. And if you have all 3 of them, you've got an addictable substance. But those are the 3 things that get you addicted to any kind of foods that are, usually junk foods or something that's maybe not as good for you. So I know people like ramen noodles, but is that really your choice to eat? If you have any other choices, ramen noodle or a hot dog, ramen noodles or McDonald's, right? Ramen noodles or, I don't know, a can of chunky soup, Campbell's chunky soup. It seems to me the ramen probably is the last choice, except for people that are, got the habit going on. But the fact that she was taking a plastic food that's as cheap as can possibly be and doing the math down to the nickel and the penny to save is not a good indication of where people are today. I look at I talked I've been a part of the radio station and helping run the place for the last 8.5 years, off and on, depending on the situation. And I talked to the advertisers. The advertisers are small businesses. Right now, a lot of small businesses are not going to advertise, not because they could use some business. They just don't have the money for the advertising. If the advertising doesn't work at lightning speed, radio advertising doesn't usually work at lightning speed. It's just not in their budget. Most of them are just these small businesses. They're pinching pennies, just like the woman with the ramen noodles. The woman with the ramen noodles doesn't have money to advertise what I would say she was running her own small business. And the small businesses, there's a good, strong handful of the small businesses that advertise over the years on the radio station that they're done. They folded up. Sometimes it's that the person that's the talent, the engineer, the owner, the head man has gotten really old in years, and they're like, look, I got this well-working business. Even in a bad economy, there's these businesses that work good. And they're like, I just tried to get my son or my other son, tried to get my daughter into this. Heck, I tried to get my brother or my nephews, and nobody wanted to come run the business. A solid winner that was working. No. That's the other thing. That's the other thing about the economy. People don't want to work very hard. They'd rather eat the cheapest ramen noodles on the shelf because I don't think people equate their work to a progress to their future. You find a good, well-working small business, and if you have the chops to get in there and do the work, and because of the two choices, buying a business that's working or starting your own business, your success goes up to the nth degree because a well-working business has built-in customers, and you got a way better shot of being successful than starting your own business, which is a huge risk. You got to make your customer base and start from scratch. You got to start from brand new in most cases. But a lot of people not having the money to get things done. I mean, I was talking to one guy, and he's like, man, I was doing so good. Several years ago, I was at $225,000 a year. That was the salary of this guy. I was like, oh, no. He's like, well, it's not happening now, man. Now I'm just scratching out a living. I was like, well, you should have done well. He's like, well, I don't have anything to show for it. It's like, you didn't buy any gold? Times were good, and you didn't put anything away. Well, I just didn't know about it. I didn't understand. He talks to me now, and is like, all right, well, things get good again. Maybe you should call 800-951-0592. Get call at the gold company here that runs alongside the radio station. Here's the other thing. Here's one of the cool things with the Colorado side. Buying gold and silver from us, not only do we have competitive prices, and sometimes we have the best prices anywhere. A lot of times, Joe and I, when we price this stuff, you can go to all of the biggest internet guys, and we don't need to beat the biggest internet guys. But if our prices are competitive or even beats them, I'm an owner of the Patriot Trading Group. I'm a part of ownership. Joe sold part of this company to me, which is why I'm here on the radio with you. Because now Joe on the radio station, he's handing it off to me, and so you got a lot of reasons to call the number. We'll do the gold special again on the other side.
Yes, ma'am, back.
Gold and silver. Gold and silver. How many coins do you have? How many more coins do you want to put into your stack to make sure that you have yourself covered on the future, the uncertain future that's going to come? If you're not one of the elite, the big club that make all the decisions on, well, we're going to make society go in this direction because this is what we see fit. If you're not one of those guys, and you kind of disagree with the way things are going, you may want to financially also have some options. It's one thing to think differently. It's another thing to act differently and put yourself in a position to be not so caught up in the games when they say, hey, put a mask on for a year or 2 years. Social distance. Oh, you can't stand 6 feet, less than 6 feet from somebody. Go get a vaccine or we're going to fire you. Well, those things are lessened when you have a couple of gold coins sitting around that can, let's face it. For a lot of people, if you had, let's say you had, let's say you had 50 1-ounce gold coins. You've been saving, and suddenly your job's like, you need to get vaccinated. Well, I don't want to do that. Well, we're going to have to let you go. All right. You don't want your job? Well, I really like my job, but I also I'm not putting that poison in me. So no, you go to the store, mask up. So I ain't masking up. Well, you need to leave our store. Oh, I guess I'll go to the store where I don't need to wear a mask, which was always interesting to me that you didn't have to wear a mask at Walmart and Kroger. With a little grocery store, they were so hypersensitive to kick you out and follow the rules. Meanwhile, their competition, the big behemoth Walmart, was stepping on their throat and crushing their sales because I went to Walmart more because Walmart didn't make me wear a mask. I don't want to help the big corporations out necessarily, but if the small local grocery store, which had watched my son grow up as we shopped there and was friends with my wife and had a relationship, suddenly they were so over, they're going to protect the planet. They're going to, we're going to help you out by making you put a face diaper on, which has no science in helping you out at all. We're just going to do what the government says because, man, we're so helpful. We're going to help. All that stuff, you literally could have sold an ounce of gold a month to help your income, make sure you can pay your bills, and as nobody wants to talk about COVID anymore. Let's just leave it in the past. It's over with. Well, but if you really had the ability to get another job at some point, but you also had something put away to get you through that without having to, listen, that whole while I got vaccinated because my job made me. I had to keep my job. You're a slave to that job. You're not sovereign. You're not your own man. Yeah, everyone needs income. People need that income, but isn't it nicer to be able to just say no, and be able to walk if you have to walk? Glenn, I don't know. I got Glenn. Professor Glenn came on. He heard me going solo. A little bit of gold, if you don't want to put a mask on, could have went a long way back then, right?
So I really stacked silver I have gold too, but I really stacked silver on when I was getting into this. And in 2018, I was able to buy a new Toyota Tacoma pickup truck just by selling silver. I paid for my daughter's wedding 4 years ago with silver, and I just put a roof on my house selling some silver. Now, obviously, I got much more money last month for my silver than I did, 4 and 6 years ago, obviously, but I still doubled my money almost every time that I did it. And this time I tripled it almost, and even quadrupled it. So it's well worth. And like we say, it's a hedge against inflation, and it certainly is because.
Oh man, you listen, Glenn. You in that dollar mind. No, and I'm glad. And most people that are when they sell gold, that's the feeling you want. But yes, you did double the dollar amount that you got for that gold and silver. But in the meantime, there was some inflation there. There's some inflation there that took away from that dollar number. Isn't it funny, Glenn, how we are transfixed on the dollar amounts? Well, I doubled the value of my gold, but your gold didn't really double in value. It just did. No, it did its function, and it kept its value so that you get what you got when you put it into gold.
Right. Well, it helped me out in the long run, because.
Oh, yeah.
Because the dollar is junk, but the silver's good to go, and that's why I invested heavily in the silver. I still have plenty of silver left. Now, funny, Rand Paul now claims that he has seen the gold at Fort Knox, and he says it's all there. Now, do we really believe that?
Oh, man. Rand Paul, he must be is he getting to the end of his political career maybe? Because he's being less and less like the his dad every day. And he is, you know what? I found out some information that even Ron Paul has. He had all kinds of questionable things going on, even when we thought he was great. I don't know. I'm at the point now where it's hard to trust or like anybody in Washington D.C.
Yeah, well, the problem is if he didn't weigh every bar and say every bar, he can't say anything. And
well, he can say whatever he wants, but is it truthful?
Well,
right?
Yeah, I know, but yeah, well, we all know that unless you weigh it and say it, it is what it is. Okay, it might be shiny tungsten bars with gold spray paint on them. Now, who knows? But until it's checked out,
it might be a Hollywood set. It might be a Hollywood set that they put into Fort Knox. They just open a room and there's a whole bunch of fake gold sitting there.
Yeah,
I saw it. It's all there. I saw it. It looks like they bought some more.
Yeah, there's gold everywhere.
Man,
they just put mirrors on the wall.
I would say they have even was it 8,000 tons? Is that what we're supposed to have? Something like that. Oh, they have 16,000 tons, man. It's awesome. Look at all this gold. Yeah.
Back in the 80s, the trick was if you had a 900-square-foot house that put mirrors on all the walls, and the house looked twice as big. And that's probably what they're doing at Fort Knox. Like, oh, look at all this gold, and it's just a hall of mirrors that every time you take a step, it looks like more gold.
Didn't Rand Paul get shot? Didn't he get shot?
No, his neighbor jumped him and broke 2 of his ribs.
And then wasn't there like a softball game? Did he get shot at there?
No. That was the senator guy from Louisiana. He got shot in the leg.
But I mean, wasn't Rand Paul there? Didn't he get shot at?
No, maybe he got shot at, but he didn't get shot. He wasn't the one that got shot.
And then his neighbor suddenly went crazy and then beat the crap out of him.
Right, broke 2 of his ribs.
Maybe that has a lot to do with him changing his constitutional views on things. Maybe he decided, you know what, the money's just easier. Maybe he just sold out.
Doesn't cost you much other than your soul to sell out. That's all it costs,
Oh, Rand Paul probably sucks, just like the rest of them now. It's sad. It's so sad. Well, we got a couple more segments here on the Patriot Radio News Hour. Hang on, guys. We'll be right back. All right, 800-951-0592. I'm always, when Joe's on the air, I lean on him pretty heavily because since I'm back at the radio station, a lot of times I'm trying to get a lot of things accomplished while he's doing the heavy lifting on the Gold Show. So with him not here today, I'm still trying to do radio. Busy week today. This week we got the crypto meeting tomorrow that will be getting together and giving people the up-to-date information about what's going on with Orem and Texacoin and all this other stuff that we're into. And get in there. I'm sure there's a lot of questions I'm fielding. We're going to get a lot of that answered. We're hoping by tomorrow. And keep on keeping on. But remember, you guys, we got some $10 liberties here. $1,075. We only had 20 of those coming into the show. Those might be sold out. Call us at 800-951-0592. And we had some $10 liberties left, just a small spattering of those, and they're $2,150. So get on the phones, get yourself set up. Glenn, well, what's going on in your neck of the woods? Anything financially relevant about what you're seeing in your neck of the woods? What did you think about the plastic ramen that I saw the videos for that earlier this year, and then the woman who figured out how to save, I don't know, a couple of nickels by putting the 8-pack back and getting the singles. Is that a good? I consider that like not a good indication of the financial situation for citizens. What do you think?
Well, everybody now really needed to pay attention back in middle school and high school when they were doing basic math, because if you go to the grocery store, you can actually get some decent deals if you know what we're doing. We have a grocery chain here called Harris Teeter, and a lot of the stuff in there is buy one get one, and I do most of my shopping there. And they're a higher end store, but when they do the BOGO stuff, it's actually not bad to go in there and shop. And they always tease you at the end. We're like, oh, you have 643 gas points and you saved $26 today. And you're like, oh, I saved a lot of money, and that's just a great marketing tool. Plus, it's a very nice store. But the local gas station down the street from me, I don't know if somebody was playing a prank or they're just idiots. They had the gas price of $7.99 yesterday when I was riding by, and I started laughing. I'm like, wow, what happened in Iran overnight, And I get to the next gas station, I see it's $3.99. That's our current price here in Maryland, is $3.99. I don't know what it is in your neck of the woods. What's Bucky selling it for? Because they're still so much gas, they have to be selling it cheaper, I don't
drive by there on my way to work. I avoid I-25, and I'm on the east side of I-25, so I get to avoid that. I know that we have a bunch of QTs. I got gas there a couple of days ago. I didn't really pay attention to the price because this big behemoth that I got the lease from Texas, it's a gas guzzler and it needs 91 octane and all that stuff. So it's incredibly expensive. So when I fill that thing up, I don't really pay attention except for that I have to pay like $80 or $90 to fill it up. I think it's in the threes still. I think $3.71 a few days ago for regular unleaded. So a little bit better. We get a little cheaper gas here for whatever that means.
Yeah. The gas station I go to, it's a chain called Wawa, and it's a big Northeast gas station chain, I guess. But they have a very good app system where you can get 15-20 cents off of your fuel quite a bit, and so it's well worth going in there to fill up with their app. Now, obviously, you have to tie your debit card to it and everything. That's kind of sketchy. So I have a separate debit card that I use just for that. That way, if it gets hacked, I really don't care. But that's I think everybody's penny pinching nowadays. And I just saw that the Iranians
using digital currencies. You just admitted to using digital currencies.
When you use a credit card, that's what you do. Yeah. So
that's not different than crypto. That's not any different than cryptos.
It's close. It's in the same family.
It really is.
Venus and species.
It's the same thing, man. They're disguising it in, bringing it in, man. It's all the same. But go ahead. I get it.
I know. I didn't make any smart contract with Wawa today, though, that I know of, at least. I still think all that crap can be hacked. Anyway, I see the Iranians have said, "Hey, we're not going to negotiate anymore. We're just going to wait you out, Trump, until you leave office. We'll wait till 2029, and it can just stay as it is, and we don't care." And because, quite frankly, I would have said one more thing to Trump, like, "Yeah, because you don't have any munitions, and you can't do squat to us right now." So there. And Trump basically had no response back on that because he knows he can't initiate more war against Iran because we don't have the bullets to do it. We don't have the missiles. We don't have.
If it's a real conflict,
Navy, apparently,
Glenn, let me say this: if it's a real conflict between the U.S. and Iran, if that's a real conflict, if this is not a negotiation, then Iran is that's real ignorant. Because what do they think? They think a Democrat's going to come in and do any less bombing and blowing up of their country? Do they really think that it's a different person that heads the country if a Democrat gets elected? I mean, do they not remember Barack Obama and what he did to Muammar Gaddafi? I don't know. They don't have that long enough memory, Glenn?
Well, if your boy Jared Polis gets in there, they'll love him. Isn't he gay?
Well, he's also Jewish.
The gay Ayatollah.
He's Jewish, so I don't really think Iran would like Jared Polis. I think that would be.
You never know.
I think Trump would probably be giving advice to Jared Polis. I think those two would get along really well. We got one more segment, guys. Hang on, we'll be right back. 1-800-951-0592 Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe will be joining us at some point, and we'll try to have a good time and get you some information that might have make a difference on some level. But otherwise, always good to get yourself a little bit of gold and silver. Glenn, what do you say?
Well, today's my range training day, so when I get off the phone here, I'm heading straight to the range, and we set up all these really cool tactical courses that we shoot on. And since the brass price now, the scrap value is $250 a pound, we've been putting nets out. And when we're done shooting, we just dump all that brass into a bucket. We've made almost $3,000, or recouped about $3,000 already this year just scrapping our brass, which goes into buying more targets, more ammunition. So even brass now is paying off, which is good. So
they pay you better for the brass. They don't melt it or anything. They reuse it, right?
Yeah, they'll scrap it back at the recycler, yeah. So remember Eric used to call the people that were stealing copper pipes the urban miners? So I guess basically that's what we're doing. We're the urban miners. No, we're not cutting catalytic converters off or anything like that. But it's kind of funny. When I go to the scrapyard, there's all these signs about, we'll prosecute you if you bring stolen metal in here and all this kind of stuff. It's pretty funny. You know, like you have to show your ID and all that kind of stuff. Of course, when I go in there, the guy knows me very well. And he gave me a magnet a long time ago because there are some steel casings, and I always make sure I go through and call out all that stuff. And he doesn't even check me anymore because he knows I'm good on that. And I bring a lot of brass in there to that scrapyard, and I always love to see the stuff that's being scrapped in there. There's, you know, all kind of aluminum and, you know, copper wire from electric motors, and I get into these really cool conversations with the guy, and he's telling me, like, the value of all this metal in there is, you know, it fluctuates week to week by price. And he is so accountable for, like, every little bit of it. And it's kind of interesting. I guess there's a very tight margin on that stuff because you got to haul it and process it and everything else, you know. But the scrap metal, and most of that scrap metal probably is going out of our country, go back to China, where they'll turn it into a finished product and sell it back.
That's what I was asking. You know, do they actually melt it down, or isn't it better just to reload it? Well,
you can reload some of it, yes, but it's for the stuff that we don't shoot. If it's you know, got a dent in it or something that you can't shoot it, you know, obviously it pays to scrap it. So
got it.
That's what we do. Yeah. So there's money to be, and you're talking about nickels, how the nickel is now worth 7 or 8 cents, and how your copper pennies worth 3 to 4 cents. I mean, because of like what you were talking about earlier, the devaluation of the dollar, how everything is worth more now in dollar numbers. You know, it makes sense to scrap, or at least, you know, call out all this other metal that you can do. It's not hard to do. It's very simple.
Joe, did you have a last second statement? Thank you, Glenn, for coming on. You can hang with us. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah. 800-951-0592. That's my last second statement. Get in and take advantage of these ridiculous prices that we have going on right now. And again, it's something where they're just, like Glenn said, they're just going to keep devaluing the dollar, which just means everything. And I don't pick the commodity, right? They're all worth more. I'll be back. Jason's going to be back. Who knows? Glenn may be back.